You suit the description of a firefighter in your life, always fighting to solve a crisis, always fighting to put off some fire somewhere. You're always rushing to solve one problem. What matters to you? Is it direction or the speed? Which one comes on the higher hand? Are you the guy who runs fast, or are you the person who plans before they run? Greetings. I hope you are good today. This is Patrick Egon, Troy Teach. It's your channel, Troy Teach Patrick Egon. Today we are going to read once more this particular book, Habits for a Better You. Every one of us as an individuals, we have a better self. We want to be the best of ourselves. We want to create a better version of us each day. I think this is the most or the biggest ambition we have in life. So today I'm going to address the first habits for a better you. That is making a plan. You'll allow me, I'll be using the soft copy as well as the hard copy for this discussion. We'll start with a question to you. Two questions indeed. The first one, do you think you suit the description of a firefighter in your life? Always fighting to solve a crisis, always fighting to put off some fire somewhere. You're always rushing to solve one problem. From here you're rushing to solve another problem, such that your life is, if you're not solving a marriage problem, you're solving a financial problem, you're solving a workforce problem, you're solving a spiritual problem. Do you think you are a firefighter in your life? Question 2. What matters to you? Is it direction or the speed? Which one comes on the higher hand? Are you the guy who runs fast, or are you the person who plans before they run? So these two questions will be important in our discussion today, because planning seeks to make you a better person such that you don't have to be a firefighter. You need to be able to see events, you need to be able to see what is coming so that you can be able to control the response. You can be able to make choices and all that. So in terms of direction, let us look at this guy. We have two people. One is driving at a rate of 150 kilometers per hour in the wrong direction. The other one is driving at 50 kilometers per hour in the right direction. Who is likely to get to the destination? That's upon you to answer. So that is why we need a plan, so that our focus should be on direction more than speed. So what is a plan? A plan from this book is sometimes you need, this is a set of things to do in order to achieve something. A plan basically is a roadmap. It is the direction you want to focus on. It is the activities you want to achieve so that you attain some or a particular set of goals. If you read the book Habits of Highly Effective People, the first two habits which have been addressed is, number one, being proactive. Being proactive means you come up with solutions even before the problems occur. It means you have the capacity to see the problem, plan on how to identify this problem and solve it before the problem occurs. There are two different kind of people. One is a set of people who are reactive. They are always on reactive mode. They are the people who respond to problems. They are always on super firefighter mode. Then there are people, we call them proactive, who are able to think before. So that is the first habit addressed in Habits of Highly Effective People. The second one is starting with the end in mind. This is an important aspect of of planning, because you need to see the end before you start. You need to objectivize the results before you start a problem. You need to do what is called in engineering reverse engineering. You start with the solution coming back. That is the essence of planning. So we are going to address three things. Number one, what happens if you don't plan? Okay, maybe nothing happens. Number two, what are the questions which are answered by planning? And number three, what are the features of an effective plan? So this will be the focus of our discussion today. Number one, let us talk about what happens when we do not plan. Failing to plan results in some of the following crises. Number one, unplanned investments leading to unfinished projects. I'm very sure you have gone into the construction industry. You have seen some people are building houses. They were built, but at a certain stage they are stuck. You have seen many people starting businesses, but they don't take it to the end. You have seen people starting writing books or doing any other project, but they don't make it to the end. If you follow it closely, you'll find that most of this was started without a plan, such that you are not prepared mentally on what to expect before you make an investment. So before you start that saving culture, before you start that investment project, before you start that business, it's good to sit down and see you have a proper plan. And I think that is fundamental, because if you go to any bank, the first thing they'll ask you is, do you have a strategic plan on your hand, and do you have a business plan? Because they want to see exactly what you want to do. The second problem which arises from not planning is what is called unplanned debts. Some of us, we are living from one problem to another problem when it comes to debts and financial problems. How have you planned your finances? Are you organized? Are you good? Do you have a budget expenditure on your hand? Do you have a savings culture? Do you have a budget before the salary gets in the account? Do you pay yourself first, or you save what has remained? Those are important things you need to handle and planning when it comes to financial life. Failed relationships. What kind of relationships have you been having? What kind of business relationship have you been having? What kind of relationship when it comes to your family life? Are you planning how to relate? Are you planning the conversations you have with people? How often do you have family meetings? Or it is just left to nature? So that is important. We have non-committed, demotivated workers. For example, if you are running a business entity and you don't show a plan, you don't show that you are a committed business entity who are willing to have an inclusive approach to your workers, the biggest result is you have a workforce who may be trained well, but they are demotivated. So you need to plan as an investor, you need to plan as a business person, you need to plan as a manager to ensure that whoever lies in your line of responsibility should actually see that you have a plan for them. You have a plan for them in terms of personal development, in terms of the workforce, in terms of the workflow. So such things are important. Loss of interest in our work, which is also attributed to demotivated workers. So you may realize that you are having a very good entity, you are having very good systems, but your human capital is demotivated. They are not interested in your work, not because your job is boring, but because you don't have a strategic plan to make them involved. Too many workloads on your plates. When you go home, are you taking your job? Are you taking your work with you? Do you have a separate family time and work time? Are you the person who is always on the last minute rush, trying to finish a contract, trying to finish a job you had been assigned, or all that? Are you stressed because of your working environment? You need to check on your planning. Do you plan on what you want to do in the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? You need to see on that. If you don't plan, this is the biggest thing again. you live your life to chances. Anything can come. In Kiswahili tunasema ikuje vile iko. So that is some of the things which happen when you do not plan. Let us go to the second thing. When planning, what are the questions we need to answer? Planning answers the following questions. Number 1, what, who, when, why, and how. Question number 1, what do you want to achieve? Number 2, why do you want to achieve it? Number 3, when do you want to achieve it? Number 4, how am I going to achieve it? And finally, who do you need in the process? Remember, planning is a proactive approach to life. So the end results of it should ensure that you are having the best time utilization of your resources and what you have around. So if you answer the 5 aspects you have talked about, you should be able to know the end results. You should be able to know the internal motivation. What is the intrinsic motivation? Why? If you answer the correct why, then it is very hard for a project to be hard on you. Who do you need along the process? What is the resources, human capital you need? How many networks do you need in your plan? How am I going to achieve this? Do you have a timeline? Do you have a goal? Do you have a what is called specific objectives? Do you have your KPIs online? Those are important aspects you need to see. Who do you need in the process? That is well catered for. So the third thing we are going to focus on is what are the features of an effective plan. Because the end result is we want to have a process which will help you to utilize your time well. Remember the three factors we addressed also in this book, the 10 factors. That is time, energy, and money. And we agreed in some sessions that it's really hard for you to have the 3 of them at once. I think there was a presentation that when you're young, you have enough time and sufficient energy, but you don't have money. When in youthful stage, you have sufficient energy and money, but you don't have time. Then when you are old, you have time and money, but no energy. So plan your life such that you can be able to balance the 3 important aspects. So your effective plan should have the following. Number 1, it should establish the core big picture ideas. What is this big thing you want to achieve? What is your big picture? What is the end results? Is it a 2-story building? Is it to have a sustainable, for example, if you are saving in a circle, do you want to save 10 million shillings? If you save 10 million shillings, it means you'll be having a dividend share of about 120,000 in a year. No. If you save 10 million, that means you'll be getting 1.2 million with a different share rate of 10%. Is that your biggest picture? Is your biggest picture retiring well? Is your biggest picture owning a ranch? So that is the big picture you need to see in your plan. This is important because it is from this big picture then you can be able to slice it out to the downsizable stepping stones, which can now culminate into the big picture. And as the Chinese people said, if you want to eat an elephant, you have to chop it into pieces. Number 2, always provide the key results areas. The KRAs and the KPIs are important for your process. How do you know that you are at 10%? How do you know that you are at 20%? How do you know that your processes have been streamlined? That is important. You need to indicate the key performance areas, the key result areas, which can be able to tell you that you are at this milestone and all that. Your plan should be simple and clear. Do not complicate stuff. Be simple, be clear. Remember, the biggest peace of mind is what is called the clarity of mind. If you know exactly what you want, that is what you need to do. You should accompany your plan with a committed line to action. You should be committed to action. As shared in one of our discussions, even if you have a very good idea, without the starting point, without the action line, all that will be useless. So you need to be committed in as an individual while you are planning. Know the exact plan on action. When are you going to start? What are you going to do? If your target is to maybe do the gym, what are your action plans and all that? Remember, action begets action, and that is what brings success. Be flexible. Provide the means which can allow you to easily integrate your planning with whatever comes. Do not change the goal, change the strategy, but be flexible enough in your planning to accommodate the things which come in along the way. You have emerging issues, you have accidents, you have all those things. You need to capture them in your planning process. Your planning should be time bound. Be specific. Do you want to get 10,000 savings in 3 months? Do you want to get 50,000 in 1 year? Do you want to write a book in 3 months? This one gives the mind the decision, the declaration of war, that this is what I want and this is the commitment I'm making. If you want to be realistic in life, ensure that your goal is time bound. Otherwise, it will just be dreams and dreams. Then the last discussion is your planning should be a continuous process. In engineering, we call it in a control loop. You need always to be revising. You need always to be improving in your system. In your feedback loop, when you get the timelines, when you study, what did you achieve? What was the things you missed? Make this part of your plan. Always revise, always continue, and make it a continuous process. Because life is what happens from the time you are born to the time you make it at the end. So thank you so much. This has been a discussion on planning, which is an important aspect for our life. This is Patrick Egon, channel Toro Teach Patrick Egon. Kindly subscribe and get more information and data concerning inspiration stuff, concerning electrical engineering, concerning writing and publishing, and concerning educational corporate training. Thank you so much.